friends. How are you? It's nice to see you all again. I'm Adrienne, and this is my podcast, Tryllacraft, and I'm from London, Ontario. I am, lots to talk about. It's been a few weeks. I'm so sorry. I kind of meant to come back sooner, but, life. Surprisingly, in a pandemic, you can still be busy and have a life. I don't understand how that works. So last time I talked to you, I was just about to head off to my brother's place because I was adding a second bubble to my life. And so I spent a little over a week up with my brother and his family. And oh man, it was lovely. It was so lovely. Hardest part was driving there because it's a 6.5 hour drive and there's no place to pee on the on the way there. I took some of the back roads, and so none of the provincial rest stops were along that route. And all the gas stations were like no public washrooms. So I had to hold it. So I wasn't crazy speeding, but I did not slow down. So, but it was really sweet. I got to their house and my sister-in-law was hanging stuff out on the back line, clothes and stuff. And she was really excited to see me. And she goes, I don't know if I'm allowed to hug you. I'm like, I'm adding you with my bubble. And so she reached out and gave me this gigantic hug. It was one of those hugs that, like, in normal circumstances would have felt like it lasted too long. But in that circumstance, it was just perfectly long. It was really lovely. And then I walked inside and my brother was there and my 3 nieces were there and everyone was giving me hugs, and then I was like, I have to pee, and so I disappeared. But it was just really lovely to be in a household with people where people could like get you things out of the fridge or bring you a cup of tea, or I could hug them or play board games with them or high five my nieces, and everybody was singing and dancing and being ridiculous, and it was really, really lovely. They're loud though. Oh my God, they're loud. Oh my God, they're loud. All of my nieces, they're 16, 19, and 23. And it doesn't really matter what they're doing. Listening to music, watching a movie, whether they're happy, sad, mad, glad, simply communicating, doesn't matter what it is, everything's done at a yell. Everything's at a yell. So for someone like me who comes from a house that is like uber quiet, like I dictate exactly how much noise and at what level and when, that's a lot. So the morning I was supposed to leave, my sister-in-law was like, you can stay longer if you wanted, which was so sweet, so sweet. And I was like, well, I'm gonna go home. And she's like, so what do you think the max amount of time you could ever spend with us would be? And I looked her straight in the eye and said, 1 week. My brother laughed. And she's like, oh, we're that unbearable. I'm like, it has nothing to do with being unbearable. It has to do with the fact that, I lived by myself for, I think I'm up to 13 years now since I've had a roommate. And, I'm good with quiet. Doesn't mean I don't want to visit. So hopefully I'll go back for Thanksgiving. I'll go up for another week or so. So anyway, so that was a big part of where I've been. And then I came back and immediately straight back into work. And work was crazy busy. But today is the very first day of my vacation. So now I have a 12-day vacation. So excited. I'm going to do a bunch of knitting. And my big task is, the way I have my house set up is that the master bedroom has actually been set up as my office because I thought I was going to work from home a lot when I first moved in. This is years ago, but because I was doing a lot of online teaching and all that sort of stuff, like having a home office was really important to me. Turns out I don't work in that office because I sit on my couch and that's where I do all my work. And so my yarn room is just this tiny little room in the back on my second floor, and so I'm going to switch those rooms. So I'll still have an office, because it looks like I'm going to be working from home for the foreseeable future, so I might want to have an office at some point, especially in the wintertime when it gets cold in here and I heat each room individually. It's all electric heat, so yeah, anyway, so my big task is to switch the two rooms, and then I'll have lots of room for my yarn room. Then maybe when it's clean, I might actually take you for a tour. But that's a ways away. So that's my big project over the next, week and a half. But it's also stupidly hot here in London, Ontario, and we've been on heat warnings and it's all these alerts and whatnot, and it's just been stupid hot. So we'll see how much work I get done, considering I don't have air conditioning either, so limits what I can do in the house during the day sometimes. All right. What else do I have to tell you? Life is good. Busy with work. It has been a bit of a struggle. A lot of people that I haven't seen in a while or talked to in a while have been asking about Noah, which has been hard. And I've been missing, it's hard to say I've been missing him, but I have. I think about him a lot, and I worry about him, and I kind of think of the milestones that we would have been hitting, and I'm just like, oh, we're not going to hit those milestones. And I still know it was the right decision. It's still a heartbreaking one. And Toka's 1 year is in 11 days. So yeah, that's shit. So yeah, so that's been weighing on my mind a little bit too. So I miss my Toka a lot. Okay, so we're here to talk about knitting. Let's talk about knitting. I've been busy. Busy. A week up at my brother's place, which was, I didn't have to cook. I didn't have to clean. During the days, mostly what I did was, if I wasn't working, then I was listening to audiobooks and knitting. That's what I spent most of the days doing. And then as a family, we hung out in the evenings and played board games and all that sort of stuff. So I did a pretty substantial amount of knitting. I got through like 3 audiobooks, and it's good. So I have no finishes exactly, but I have 2 hose. Unfortunately, 2 hose do not a finish make. So one at a time. The first one, this is Stranded Dye Works. This is my sock blank. And this was the Nave colorway. No, sorry, I always say that wrong. Nave watercolor is the colorway. So if you follow the back of the sock, it's got this lovely progression, and it changes and it moves down here, and isn't it lovely? And if you move down the front, it's lovely, it's lovely. Change. I didn't realize that. I should have, but I wasn't thinking. And I, of course, was halfway down the foot when I realized it, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'll finish it. So there's just a really abrupt change in the sock from how I put my heel in. So I got to remember, not for the next sock, because I'm going to want it to match, but next time I do, words are failing me today. When I do sock blanks or stuff like that, and I was thinking about this, my Deconstructed Fades by Shirley Bryan would be the same issue. I'm going to have to put in either afterthought heels or at least a contrast heel, because it's going to interrupt the flow of the sock itself. But anyway, yay, finished sock. It's still pretty cool looking, so I can't really complain too much. And again, as I've said for multiple other socks, if people get that close to my foot that they can like be all nitpicky about the differences, they're too close to my feet. So that was the first hoe. My second hoe is this one. Oh, can you see? So this is by Vivid Yarn Studios, and this is her tweed base in the dolphin colorway. So I think the last time I saw you, I just put the cuff on and I was like, oh, I don't know if I like the tweed because I loved it in the hank, but I don't know if I love it in the sock. So I finished the sock. And like from a distance, I don't think you can really tell. But when you get up close, you can see all the neps and stuff like that. Meh. It's not as impressive as I thought. I'm like, meh, whatever. I was just looking at the ball band for it. And there's actually no nylon on this. In this, it's just 85% merino wool, 15% nep. I don't actually know what nep stands for. So we'll see how these wear. I have no idea, but whatever. They're cool, whatever. So 2 hose, which is lovely. And then I've got lots of other stuff to show you. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you might have seen I put up a post a few days ago. I kind of found some empty sock needles, like 6 pairs of empty sock needles. So I went stash diving and I pulled 6 skeins, and then the next morning I found some more empty needles, so I pulled 2 more skeins, and then I got all excited, so I had the skeins and I matched them with bags and I put them with the needles, and then I became really indecisive. So I posted a pic and I'm like, help me pick what I need to knit on. So of course people were lovely and told me what to knit on, because I was just like, it's all too pretty, I don't know what to do. I know, that's my big issue, it's too pretty, I don't know what to do. So yeah, so I cast on some socks. And then I just kept on knitting. All right, let's talk about this. Gotta make sure I start with the right ones. Okay, so every tote bag. I love this bag. It's just so tealy and blue up my alley. So pretty. Hello, every tote. So this was the winner. This is a Vesper sock yarn by Knitterly Things, Rainbow of the Month from June 2019. Oh, I'm a liar. I thought it was 2019. It was 2018. So it's like 23 months ago that it's been sitting in my stash for 23 months. Oops. So it's called Summer Lovin'. And it is this smashingly vibrant rainbow. So I cast on the cuff, and then I had to knit a little bit more because I had to get through a repeat. So that's pretty cool. And then of course I put it away. Because, you know, because I finished those 2 FOs and or those 2 hose, I've already finished 8 pairs of socks, so I'm kind of ahead in the sock department. And I like having single socks around so that I can have all this sense of accomplishment, but that does mean that I need to go through a couple months of just getting hose. So I think that's what this summer is going to be. It's this summer of hose. That should be fun. So in order to do that, I just need to cast on all the socks. So that's number 1. And then I cast on number 2. So this was the bag that my friend's mom made me recently. I finally, oh, shiny. Finally got around to putting something in it. So this is just a cuff. But this is one of my own old oak yarns. It's called Velvet Shadows. I'm so excited. I have I don't want to say a ton, but I have quite a few of my own yarns where I was just like, that's really pretty, put one aside for me. It's a problem with being a dyer sometimes. But anyway, so that was really fun. I was excited to finally cast on another one of my own. I haven't done that. I should do that more often. There should always be a pair of my own socks on the needle. So, haha. Then I cast on a third one. So, another Evertote bag. Nope, I'm a liar. I can't even tell the difference between my bags anymore. I'm so sorry. This is a Knit's Best Thing. Dawn from the Codependent Knitters. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Lisa. So this is my bras and panties bag. I think it's hilarious. And so this one did not win a lot of votes in the cast on post that I did, but I really dig this skein. So this is a homespun house. Let me find the card for you. A homespun house. And this is one of her, I was in a Harry Potter Yarn of the Month club for a while, a couple years ago. And this one's called Dumbledore's Favorite. So I'm not quite done the cuff on this one yet. But it's just all these lovely burgundies and purples and goldy browns. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I don't know why. It's not really my usual color combo, but I don't know. This one's really kind of floating my boat right now. So I'm excited to get that cuff cast on. So yeah. So, whew, 3 new socks. But I also had, of course, when I'm working on all those cuffs, sometimes I need knitting for work when I just need to be able to knit. And so, this is an Evertote's bag, one of my early ones. The goats falling off a mountain. Again, I don't know why, but I like the goats falling off the mountain. You've seen this before because I've shown you the cast on cuffs, but I've actually put some work into. Not a ton of work, but whatever. Nice. So this is Timber Yarns, the Intelligent Eagle. So I've actually cast on both cuffs already, and so I will be knitting them in tandem. So I'll knit the leg of this one and the leg of the other one, and then put in both heels, etc., etc. So I should finish them both roughly around the same time. But I'm in no rush for these ones because these are like my work knitting. So yeah. But yeah, I'm really liking the colors on these ones. They're really, the blues are just slightly different. Yeah, it's fun. I like it. I'm looking forward to these. So that means I'm adding 2 different Harry Potter colorways to my sock collection. So that makes me happy. And I worked on something else. I'm kind of proud about this one. So I took this with me to my brother's place, and I actually knit on this for like 2 straight days, Canada Day and July 2nd. So you saw this a couple weeks ago, and there was just slightly more than a ribbed cuff to it. But this is my pirouette cowl. So it's gonna need a serious blocking because you can kind of see the line where I do the helical switch, but I think once I wash it and block it, that's going to disappear, and then my lines are going to look uninterrupted, which is really cool. I don't know if I enjoy helical knitting though, because it's, the yarn management is a lot and I'm just way slower at it. But if they give me results like this, maybe I shouldn't complain. But anyway, yeah, I got a good couple inches done on it. Well, probably like 5-6 inches, which is super exciting. It's one of those things where, you know, I don't know about you, but when I'm dealing with mini skeins, I always feel like I'm gonna run out of yarn like in 20 seconds. But I've knit this much, and like, look how much yarn there's still left in there. Like, it seems pretty. Seems like this project's never gonna end, is what it seems like. So yeah, I still have a fair amount of, so I wouldn't be surprised if I could get a cowl that's almost twice as long as this. Which means I need to work on it more. Okay. I have not touched it in like a week, so that'll go back on my to-do list. So yeah, so those are all the things I've been working on. If I just worked on one project, I would get so much done, but instead I work on 5, 7. But that's okay. All right, so I have a bit of a surprise for you guys, or I don't know, something special for you guys today at least. So last episode I did a whip parade. This time I'm gonna do a blanket parade because I didn't bring them out last time. And I have a fair few number of blankets on my needles. So the first one is housed in Zigzag Stitches bucket bag. I'm a sucker for chevrons, what can I say? And so this is made out of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes in a bulky. And the pattern, oh my goodness. Pattern is the Flyaway Blanket by Tennis Fiber Arts. So you just knit these big squares. So I've got 4 that are joined. I mattress seamed these together. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my god, I have 8 squares. Holy crap, more than I thought. So I have 8 squares done, which all need to be joined. There's ends everywhere. So yeah, so this is super exciting. The only problem with this one, I actually wanted to pick it up at, was it March or something like that? March or April. However, I stole the needle out of this project to work on my love note. So I kind of need to finish the love note before I can come back to this blanket. But yeah, I'm super excited. It's going to be really big, I think. And it's not the softest, like it's slightly rustic yarn. It's not like butter soft. But as a good squishy blanket, it's going to be lovely. And it's going to be big, and it's going to be thick and soft. And I'm actually going to make it with my own 2 hands eventually. So, it's good. Let's see, I have yarn in the bucket. I'll show you how I'm organizing this. So what I did was the pattern came with a template, so what I did was I colored in the template so that I understood, because you can put these squares together in a whole bunch of different patterns. So I colored in the pattern that I wanted, and then I took a picture of it, and then I cut it into pieces, and I made a map. So I need 4 of this type, 8 of this type, 6 of this type, 2 of that type. I have a feeling that 4 and 2 are actually the same. I just colored them differently. They were from different sections of the thing. But anyway. So yeah, so I know exactly how many I need to make, and I also have a little diagram so that, you know, when there's large, because I've been working on this for like 2.5 years, I don't forget what I've done, so I know exactly how many rows I knit, because if you look at them, I'll show you, they're not quite so straightforward, right? So I start here, and I have to work X amount, and then I put in the stripe, and then I work X amount more, and then there's a little gray corner, so that when you put them together, everything lines up and makes sense. It's pretty ingenious, actually. But I've had to tell myself, like, how many rows I knit, when do I do my turns, when do I change colors, so that they all actually match. So, very important piece of paper. But yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to this one. One day we'll finish it. I remember the day that I mattress stitched these together. I've never mattress stitched before. So I literally cleaned off my entire kitchen counter, and I brought in a big light, and it took me hours to seam them all together. but I got it done, so pretty proud, pretty proud. I'm actually farther along than I thought, which is really cool. Look at all the crazy ends popping out. That's fun. All right, this one. This is one of the first box bags I bought. This is from Zigzag Stitches again, in her infamous box bag. I don't know how infamous it is elsewhere, but in our local area, she's known for her box bags. So this is a crochet fingering weight crochet square granny square blanket, except that they're itty bitty bitty, so they're only like 2 inches square. Do you remember that Fiber Friends episode where Louise brought that little pin loom that was 2 inches square, and she's like, I'm gonna make a sweater, and we were like, what? I think I owe Louise an apology, because I am making 2-inch square. And then we made fun of her, and she was like, it's not like I'm gonna make an Afghan. And we were like, yeah, because that sweater's so much better. Except I'm making 2-inch square crochet granny squares, and I'm gonna make an Afghan. Louise, if you're watching, I'm sorry for making fun of you. You are not crazy. I am. So I don't have a ton done, but I've got a couple dozen done. Let's see, right? Another handful. Another handful. Right? So, but I probably have, you know, hundreds more to make. I haven't made one in ages. I need to start doing that again. I got in the habit of kind of like finishing off skeins, or finishing mini skeins at least, by making these, and then, I don't know, I stopped. So I need to do that again, because trust me, I got plenty of yarn, plenty of leftover yarn. So I need to get on that. One day. That's a 20-year project if ever I saw one. Old school Evertote bag. This was actually fabric that I gave to her, and she made me a bag out of it. So it's kind of extra special. It's got a little cross stitch on it. That's how Caroline and I met. Actually, and Louise, we all met at different times through cross stitching. So kind of a nice bag. Do you remember last week or last episode where, you know, I would start stuff and then I would put it away and I never got very far? Welcome to my northeasterly blanket. So yeah, so this yarn is some Miss Babs Hot Shot in her South Beach colorway. So yeah, so I started a northeasterly and I got an inch into it. It's not quite blanket sized yet. Might have to think about this blanket. But I even bought special needles for it. So I bought these tiny little straight needles from Signature Needle Arts. They're really pretty. Just for this project. Just put that back in the bag. So silly, so silly. I'm trying to do a drawstring. I'm so used to drawstrings. Alright. So this is my Cozy Memories blanket. Again, I don't seem to make it very far before I stop doing things. So yeah, at one point I could have probably told you, man, most of these I remember too. This one is called Sail Away. It's by, I want to say Black Trillium Fiber Arts. I could be wrong about that. One of my very first pairs of socks was made out of this one. Those socks no longer exist because I actually wore them out. This is the yarn that I made my Ardent shawl out of that I gave to my PhD supervisor. So I have a little square with her in it. So funny, you can tell 80-20, 75-25. Anyway, I don't actually love knitting mitered squares, so I don't know what's gonna happen with this project. This might turn into, I don't know, a placemat. But I got a bunch of yarn hanging out inside, waiting. Lots of leftovers. Pretty. Squirrel. So yeah. What else we got? Oh, this one. I need to work on this blanket. So this is a Mrs. Brown's bag. Love this one. This one's gorgeous. So this is a giant granny rectangle blanket. So you just keep going around and round and round, and I made it into a rectangle so that it would be long enough to cover my feet, not equally as wide. And what I did was I made magic knot cakes. So I took all sorts of leftovers and minis and whatnot. I magic knotted them all together. I actually have 3 cakes in here so that I could just knit and knit and knit and knit and knit. And somehow I never get around to it. Sorry, I don't knit, I crochet. This is crochet. If I'm gonna do it, I gotta call it by what it really is. But it's so pretty. Crap, I need to work on it. I need to work on everything. Anyway, I love this one. I think it's beautiful. So, I'm kind of mad at myself right now. But there's just not enough time, guys. Too much to do, not enough time. All right. Yet another Zigzag Stitches bag. Zigzag holds a lot of my blankets. She's got nice big sturdy bags. Buy a lot of my big bags from her. So, if you remember a couple summers ago, I knit 2 summers ago, I knit a baby blanket. I called it the baby blanket of death because I thought it was never going to end. I met the baby, Roman. He's beautiful. Hi, Roman. And so I was very glad to knit him that and all that sort of stuff. But it was just this big square. I think the pattern is called like a scrappy granny. No. I'll have to look it up. I'll put the title down there. But it felt like a never-ending blanket, and it didn't end up being that big. But for some reason I thought I should start one for myself. So I started one. And I have this big, beautiful cake. Look how big that is. This is Apple Tree Knits. Let's see if I can find her card. There we go. So, Apple Tree Knits yarn. This is her plush fingering, so it's 100% superwash merino. This is an 8-ounce or 1,120 yard cake. because it's ridiculous. And the gradient is called Night's Bright Colors. And so the yarn is beautiful. But I don't think I want to do this blanket. Like, it's still on DPNs at the moment. Like, I haven't even managed to make it up to a, although really what I should do is pop it straight onto a, I don't want to. Look at me go. That's it. I am frogging live, people. Well, not live, but you know what I mean. In front of your very eyes. So, yeah. So this little square is as big as that blanket got. It's gonna become something else. So, that's it. Those are all my blankets. Seeing how often I work on them, that's probably enough blankets. Although I saw one the other day. I see them all the time. I always want to start everything. I'm not starting any new blankets. I was going to start a new project, but I was going to take it up to the cottage with me for this vacation. But I'm not going to the cottage now. So I pulled yarn for it, but I haven't quite started it yet. So you won't see it until I start it. It'll be a surprise. All right, I've been rambling for a while. I think that's about it. Yeah, I'm gonna go knit. I'm gonna go have a cup of tea and knit because it's now just before 8 a.m. in the morning. I like to record early. Anyway, I hope all of you are well. Stay safe. Take care of each other. Happy knitting. Love you.